Hello.
Hello world, hello Radio Land. Delighted for you to join us all in a new vertical format, and we are streaming all over the place this evening. We'll talk about exactly where we are streaming to in a second or two, but we've got a whole bunch of guests, and the idea of today's show is just to try and cram in just as much as we can onto this vertical format and to see what it looks like. And we've got loads of lovely people going to join us in a minute or two, but first of all, I think what we want to do is just explain what the heck it is we are doing here. And it is actually a Zoom call. Yes folks, this is a Zoom call, and Neil and myself are on the Zoom call in vertical in Ecamm. So Ecamm's streaming software, and within that it's embedded Zoom, so the two are linked together, but we are actually literally running a Zoom call. All of our guests that are coming on this evening, the only thing they've had to do is click a link and join as if they're joining a normal Zoom call. So it's nothing particularly complicated from that perspective. We are then streaming live into LinkedIn and YouTube and a selection of other locations, and some of our guests have got restream links, and we're able to do something called pairing, which means that effectively we can fire off a stream which goes to restream and then fires off to, for instance, Doug's restream or Chris's restream, or in this case I'm using Neil's restream and that's piggybacking on mine. And what that means is any channels we're connected to kind of get spread out. So we're streaming all over the place at the moment, probably. We will see.
I think we are.
Neil's checks in the background on one of his 20 screens that he's got going on. So we're going to do a bit of audience interaction using something called Streamer Live. We're using a beta version of the Ecamm software as well, and that's going to allow us to do some fancy transitions and stuff like that. So we're going to do a few fancy transitions in a moment or two, and this little video we've got is just a reminder for me to mention all the different elements that we've got going on. You don't necessarily need to have all of this to go live on LinkedIn, but we like to try and push the boundaries and see just how far we can take it. So in a minute or two we'll be bringing in all of our guests who are currently hiding in the background. You can wave away, guys, but I can get rid of you at any time. We'll be bringing all of these lovely guests on in a minute or two, but we've also got the ability and capacity to have, as you can see, 3 more guests on camera, and indeed any guests in the background, we should be able to bring those on using the active speaker mode on Zoom. So if any of you fancy joining us and you've got your camera and you're watching at the moment, then you can click on the Zoom link that Neil has pasted somewhere. Where have you pasted it, Neil?
I've posted it on the LinkedIn, and I've also posted it on YouTube, and I think it should be posted in various places. So let's see. You should see it on your chat anyway, Martin. So it's there if you want to join us. Come on. Valerie's just joined us here on the chat as well. So Valerie, if you're up for joining us on the Zoom call, you're Mrs. Moderator, but you can join us as well as a guest. So come on, Valerie. You know what to do.
Okay, but before we get into our lovely guests and inviting them on, what we wanted to do is ask a couple of questions. Now, I've managed to break my link to the wonderful Streamer Live session that we've got going on here, but while I'm reconnecting that link, Neil, perhaps you can explain what Streamer Live is. if I can get it to work, obviously.
So Streamer Live is a web-based audience interaction tool, and it's a simple URL that you can connect to, and basically what it does is it connects to any chat that you've got running on your live stream. So currently we're running a Zoom call with our wonderful guests, and then we're broadcasting out to various places. But in this instance, Martin's just going to connect the Streamer Live session to the Zoom session. So anybody who's in the Zoom chat, which is our lovely guests and myself and Martin, can interact with that.
Recording in progress.
With Streamer Live, you can do things like polls, live polls, where are you from, interactive maps, questions, quizzes, word clouds, all kinds of wonderful stuff. And as you can see here, Martin has got this up and running. Streamer Live has just joined, and basically it just tags into the chat that you've got. So now we can start to ask questions and get audience participation and to see these wonderful visualizations moving. So
we'll
over to you,
we'll
Martin.
see what's
the
happened.
First question?
Yeah, the first question is, will vertical video take off on LinkedIn in 2025? Now you've got 5 options, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what my lovely guests can do is go into the Zoom chat and type in 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, followed by the return key, like Neil has just done there. And we're going to see a visualization on the screen of the feedback from the guests. So guests, feel free to type in 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. Will video take off? And magically the values start coming in. If you're not sure and you don't think vertical is going to take off in LinkedIn in 2025, you could be hitting the 1. If you think it is, then you're up on the top side. So we're sitting here at 60% of people think it's going to be taking off. And for those of you who haven't seen Streamer Live before, it will interact with any of the comments coming in and turn them into visualizations of one sort or another. Or alternatively, I could ask people to just type things in the comment and it's going to start to visualize that as well. So describe vertical video in one word. Guests on Zoom, type in the comments whatever you want. Tall is a good start. Engaging. So if there are multiple versions of the same word within here, then if you type in tall again, then what we're going to see is that particular engagement comes in a little bit bigger. So you've seen how that just jumped slightly on there. And people can enter in multiple versions of whatever they want to type in here. So how long can these sentences be? Well, as long as you like, but it's going to crop them off. So that's why we're looking for words. But there are multiple different interactions that we can have here. So there are different versions which will allow you to put in complete sentences, and it kind of puts them in a block and then floats them down or up the screen. So it's kind of super cool just how much you can get in here. More and more words coming in. You can't stop them. Once you get these guests on and start to ask them whether to press a couple of buttons, there's no stopping them. But you can see that this is in the square format as well, which I quite like. So we need to play about with this. Neil and myself are both in the alpha group for this product. There's all sorts of things like winning wheels and clouds and maps and all sorts of things that we could bring in this visualization. So number of different things we can do with interactions on this limited screen format, and I'm pretty sure all of that's going to be readable when we look back at it. I particularly like the sort of movement interactions because I think those are very sort of visually captivating. So what I wanted to do here is just do a very quick experiment with bringing in some of my guests in a different format. And again, this is about how does this look when we're seeing it on the screen. So I'm not really going to ask my guests to say too much at the moment because they'll get the option to do so when we go through the next role of bringing them in. But here, if you look carefully, everybody's blurred and in black and white at the bottom at the moment. And what I can do is bring in my guests one at a time. Now, Mark didn't know I was about to do that, so hence I caught him not smiling. However, my next guest who's... Yeah, well, Chris is now more prepared, I suspect, down the bottom. Oh,
hi.
Sometimes you have to go with who's available, right? So we like to bring you the best in the world, but hey, Douglas is in there too, and we've got Lindley sitting there in the background, and we're going to bring you on and let you do a proper introduction. But I've got a little cool moving over of the letter G, and everybody's sort of rolling round one at a time here in the background, bringing in the guests, and I thought that might look quite cool. So we may do a little bit of a transition here. While we move to the next version of the same thing. And here we will do a little bit of an introduction, so everybody, be prepared. You can do a little bit of an introduction to yourself, let people know who you are, why you're involved in being on a live stream at all, and what it is you do, and why this sort of thing is quite interesting to you. So I am Martin McKenna from sunny Edinburgh. I have been in the IT world for a long time, and what happened was I was running live events, and then COVID kicked in, and that kicked me out basically. So I ended up doing some live streaming work. My recording has stopped according to the Streamer Live bot, which has obviously just exited Zoom. So that's a good thing, being as I've finished with that particular element. But I found myself doing a lot of live streaming with Ecamm Live, and probably about 6 months ago I thought, I'm going to have a go at playing about with vertical video, and I accidentally almost tried streaming a vertical video into Zoom, and it worked. And then I thought, well, if I can do that, I can probably stream it into LinkedIn. So I tried that, but Ecamm flagged up that, you're in the wrong format, and that LinkedIn wouldn't like that. So I got in contact with Ken and Glenn, the developers at Ecamm, and said, is that just a little flag that you've got up there that you could take off so I can try this? And they said, yeah, it's just a flag, it's nothing technical really. So they took that off, and then I streamed into LinkedIn, and lo and behold, it allowed me to stream in vertical. Now, if you're watching this on your phone on LinkedIn Live at the moment, it will look terrible because it's going to be a tiny little line in vertical. If you're watching it on a big screen, it will be perfectly acceptable. But here's the kicker. If you go and watch the replay on LinkedIn, it will be in full 9:16 mode, i.e. it will fill in the whole screen on your phone. So LinkedIn has just introduced the ability to flick through vertical videos. He says, lifting his hands a bit higher. So this will now appear on replay in full screen on the phone, and it looks terrific. It looks really good. Unlike other platforms, it doesn't hammer loads of icons and text and stuff all over the bottom of the screen. It keeps it fairly clean and crisp. So I'm going to flick on with that, but the thing to do here, guys, is go watch this on the replay on LinkedIn rather than on live on your phone. Don't watch it live on your phone. Next up, he says,
hello, it's me. It's worth saying as well that we're actually streaming to YouTube. So because it's in vertical format, it's going to be in the Shorts feed. So as we know, YouTube Shorts is the Wild West. Who knows who's on there watching right now? But all the doom scrollers will be probably going through stuff going, what are these bunch of sort of middle-aged, not middle-aged men doing on a vertical format on our Shorts feed? So, we could get some abuse. But let's see how that goes. But anyway, for people who don't know me, my name's Neil Farrimond. I'm a semi-retired IT network engineer of 35 years. I gave up my job a couple of years ago to follow my passions of video production, audio and stuff. And since sort of doing that, I've been working with Ecamm on creating some videos for them and using Ecamm as the sort of the tool of choice for streaming and so on. So I create videos, help people out, entrepreneurs and professionals, with all kinds of different workflows, and where I can help and create training videos and things for people, that's what I do. I got in touch with Martin about a year and a half ago now, 2 years, something like that, with when we met in Boston for Ecamm's Creator Camp. Unfortunately, Martin then got the vid, as the cool kids call it, and couldn't join us in the session. But we kept in touch, and we decided that we could sort of create some stuff together on LinkedIn. And we think that LinkedIn is going to be, big in 2025 from a vertical format perspective. So watch this space. We'll be doing some stuff on there, and also have my wonderful Creative Amplifiers co-host here as well, Mark Taylor, who'll be joining us shortly as well. So it's just a wonderful love fest right now of everybody. So over to the next guest, I think, Martin. There he is, as if by magic. As if we planned it.
Thank you so much, Neil. So my name is Mark Taylor. I am a professional musician and educator, and out of that came my podcast, which started back in 2016, called Education on Fire, which is sort of more from audio only into video, into doing live summits, into doing live video and streaming, which has been an awful lot of fun. And together with that, I went to Creator Camp, which is where I met Neil, got introduced to Martin, and yes, Creative Amplifiers came out of that, and we've been going for just over a year or so now, which has been an awful lot of fun, and just really enjoying where the video is going, where the live streaming is going, and just sort of learning more and more about that, and getting to spend a lot of time with all of these wonderful people, and sort of learning every day. So yeah, that's my story.
Next up, Chris. Are you ready, Chris? Thank you, Mark.
I'm ready. Yes, absolutely. I promise I'm not sleeping this time. My name is Chris Stone. I'm at Castahead at castahead.net. And we build powerful podcasts for people who don't want to figure out how to do all the stuff in the back end. We have them just show up, fire up their microphones and their cameras, and we make a show out of it. And we don't make a show that looks like this yet, but I can't wait to do it because I think you guys are this is like a first in kind of moment, I think. I've never seen anything like this on LinkedIn. I love that you guys are leaning into it. It reminds me of, of course you guys were talking about the vid, and it reminds me of that thing. Did everybody do Clubhouse? You guys remember Clubhouse, right? It's still a thing, apparently, but even though there's like 17 people that are on it probably now. Or LinkedIn audio. And this kind of feels like that, like a very professional video-oriented version of that. I've friended a few people here on LinkedIn while we're in this whole thing. So it feels very, very much like maybe what LinkedIn should really think about doing, and actually putting the vertical feed in, the live vertical feed, I should say, in that, and hopefully when they see more content creators like you, Martin and Neil, doing this, that will happen. So I'm excited about it.
I think what's interesting, Chris, real quick, is the fact that LinkedIn have already sort of put the video icon or the video enablement on their app, so people have this ability now. Well, certain people, not everybody's got it for some reason, but I'd be interested to know who has got the video tab on the LinkedIn app right now. I know Martin hasn't got it. I have got it for some reason. Oh, I see Mark's got his thumbs up, so he has it. So they're really pushing video as a format now, right, and having a dedicated area in the app to do that, I think is really interesting. So we'll see. But yeah, thank you so much for joining today, and it's always a pleasure to have you here. It's fun.
Yeah. And we will be chatting further. We're going to have a look at some comments and things, but first of all, we're going to bring in, let you see who else is blurred in the background. And by the way, that's me. I've done that. I've made people black and white and blurred so that we could focus on the lovely faces of Chris and my other guests, like Doug.
Oh, wow. How you guys doing? I wasn't
always catch somebody at it. Wake up, man.
I wasn't supposed to be caught napping like that. But no. Hi, everybody. I'm Douglas Hammond Deshay. I'm super proud to be and happy and honored to be welcome to do some testing and collaboration on this Ecamm stroke vertical streaming experiment that we are doing. So my background is all about digital transformation. I transform people, products, and services. What that basically means in a nutshell is it's all about engaging the human being, enabling them to articulate what their challenges are and help create solutions to make their lives better. And I do that typically in the health and social care space and also local government. So my big push is all about engagement. You know, people's attention span is less than a goldfish now. We've got the swipe-itis going on. People are swiping through the feed, and anything that we can do to hold that attention for that little bit longer can enable people to then add value. Yeah. And so I'm a big pusher, and see how far we could push the technology. I have the video button on LinkedIn, and I must say that LinkedIn is the oldest social media platform. It was doing its thing way before Facebook really got up and running, and certainly before Instagram, TikTok, whatever. But it's been rather slow to catch up with the vertical feed, functionality. That being said, there are a lot of companies that don't go first, you know, in producing the vertical format. Even the iPhone that I use was slow to come up with a large form factor phone. They kept the small factor for such a long time. People were screaming, can you just make it bigger? So that being said, the video features still needs to be ironed out because it's a trade-off. I guess, because when you got more real estate for your content, which is fantastic for your video, but you got less viewable text. So whereas before on the landscape, you could write like 50-50, you could write a nice bulbous piece of copy, and then you have your video or your image underneath. The way it's flipped now is you cannot actually see, and I've tried it out many times now, and I've paid close attention to my writing, but nobody can see it unless they click right at the bottom into it. So it's really pushing video to the fore, which is going to open up a lot of opportunities for people, most definitely. So no, I'm keen to engage and see how far we can push the boundaries for engagement.
Okay, that's that. Thank you for that, Doug. Let's bring on our next guest, Lindley. And Lindley's already been pushing the boundaries of vertical. So
yeah, a little bit, but I do have swipe-itis, and I can't seem to swipe past this guest, which I would really like to do. I'm Lindley Gooden. Hello, I'm the founder and cheerleader-in-chief at Green Screen London, which is a multi-award-winning production company. And we're 20 years old this year. But my highlight of this 20-year part of my career was appearing with you guys on Tech Talk on Halloween last year, and this is number two. It could be number one by the time we're done, but nice to be here with you. Look, I'm a journalist by trade. I became a reformed journalist 20 years ago after the 7/7 attacks in London. I've done a lot of things, we've done a lot of things, but basically we work with companies and we help them to tell their stories with a lot of authenticity. People forward, let's tell your story, let's get it right, and let's get creative in the way we tell your story. But that's what I do. And last year I put out the first edition, the second edition is coming soon, of The Future of Truth and How to Get There, which is basically the guide to how to spot mis and disinformation live in real time, wherever you are, and to fight it. So that's what I'm sort of doing on the side now, because I think information ethics are really important. Now, one thing about LinkedIn video, and I'm glad everyone else has tucked into this, because one thing that I did last year was putting out some videos for the book, and there'll be lots more to come. But this is essentially what I'm seeing here is square video, and I'm quite a big fan of square video, because what we're doing at the moment is transitioning from that sort of quality widescreen format, where, as Doug said, you can do quite a lot on the widescreen. Normally we'd sort of go from video to text, and you'd write something there and then go back to video and text. This way round, it's using what I can see as square video, and then you've got that lovely portion at the bottom. I like the look of this. We haven't seen the text in action here yet, but I think there's a lot of it really has legs. With LinkedIn, the big issue is how we use it, isn't it? I use LinkedIn. I've got professional contacts. If I've chaired a session and my contacts are there, I'm not going to put out social media stuff. I'm going to put out a comment on a story or something that we've done. For me, LinkedIn is promotional. I don't want that to be the case, but that's what I see in my timeline. So I think the nature of the content will be interesting, and that's, I think, the biggest barrier to making the transition for LinkedIn from professional media to social media. But before I go, I did look on my LinkedIn app, and I do have the video button. And the first face I've seen on my video button is the US President, Donald Trump. Back to you.
All right, next.
Hey guys, I'm
Jess.
Jess Farrimond. Hi, good to see you.
Hi.
So
I'm here supporting my husband, Neil. And I had no idea what I was stepping into. There's some amazing guests here. Wow. Neil, you've really stepped up your game. My goodness.
It's all Martin. What can I say? It's nothing to do with me. I'm just a stooge sitting here.
Yeah, we're here for
Wow.
Martin.
Martin, I mean, I don't know, what Neil's promised you, but yeah, this is fantastic that you're able to, bring him along.
We're dragging him along, kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining
two.
and taking time out.
This is
And
really
I'm going to press the
interesting.
button to bring in guest 7 and guest 8 in a moment that don't exist. So we're all going to sit here in black and white till I move through my screens to get to the ones where I've got some more guests in. So let's do that. Thank you, Jess.
Yeah.
Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. That was guest 8, who doesn't exist at the moment. And we will flick through. bring everybody back in, and then we can start to look at some of the comments, because we hadn't looked at the text side of things yet. So we're going to bring in some comments, and apparently, Val, I like that one actually. So hopefully I'm going to add that to the broadcast, and we'll get rid of Lux's one here, which is
I didn't sign
requires
up for
a little
that,
bit
Val.
of tweaking. Apparently, Val tells me you did. You know.
Okay. Oh, Robin's here as well. Let's not forget to bring Robin on. She's in the.
Is she hiding in the
right?
background?
No, she's there. I can see her on the Zoom.
Okay, Robin.
I need to get Robin out
Val.
of detention.
Yeah,
You're out of
Robin's in
detention,
at the
Robin.
moment.
I'm bringing you
Yeah,
on.
Exactly.
Assigned placeholder, but I have to look round the camera here. Robin is on. Val, are you coming on?
You're on mute.
I think
no,
we are.
I'm not anymore, right?
You're not on mute. We can hear you.
Am I
Can
on
hear you.
mute? You can hear
No,
me.
we can hear you, Robin.
We can hear you.
Awesome.
We can all
Hi,
hear you.
everybody. This is nice. What a surprise. I wasn't planning on being here. And Valerie pinged me, and I said, oh, I have to see what you guys are up to. And by the way, Martin, I love what you're doing with this vertical format and the graphics. It's very, very, very nice. Very professional.
Thank you so much.
So,
We're
looking forward
really
to
not quite
trying
sure.
some of these out. Yeah, you're doing a great job.
So,
Sorcery. I like that. Nobody's
So,
ever called us
bit about-
professional before, so that's a first. So thanks for that.
So a little bit
You
about
know
my
what-
background. I'm a bit of a global travel addict. That's my YouTube channel is Explore with Robin, and I have been in the marketing and PR space for about 3 decades, helping my entrepreneurial clients grow and get featured in their dream publications, like the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Entrepreneur. So Lindley, I can relate to you being a journalist. I'm the pitcher. I'm the one that tries to get those stories featured, and yes, it's been a great journey and love seeing the results and helping out my clients. And I also now have some digital courses. So I've turned a lot of this knowledge into making that available to help new and growing entrepreneurs cut through the social media clutter and get their story out there. So that's kind of my short business background. I agree. We have the attention span of a goldfish. I've said that too when I've been presenting, and it's sad but true. So with these beautiful graphics and good messaging, we'll be able to cut through the clutter, and hopefully, yes, we'll all be standing out. And I
Bingo.
have been, let's see, a digital nomad before that was a term. So I started living and working in Portugal about 9 years ago. I've been back 4 times. Love it. Haven't moved there yet, but I always thinking maybe one day.
You just need to do it, Robin. Just make.
I just need
make
to
the
do it,
switch.
Neil. I know. Yes. So if you are interested in travel and you want to follow my journeys, please join me. And that is my video podcast, which is Explore with Robin. And I'm just starting to do lives. It'll be doing my 3rd live this Friday. Once a month, I'll go live. Not sure where I'm being broadcasting from or how. Sometimes it might be my phone or Ecamm, but love to see you there.
Let us know. Put a link in the chat, and I'll post it out on the respective socials.
Okay, thank you. I will.
hey Valerie, you may as well do a bit of an intro to you too, because you're normally hiding from us.
You ready? Tell me if you're ready.
Yeah,
We're
we're ready
ready.
for you.
This will be the shortest intro ever. Just so you know. So my name is Valerie Pinkston, and I'm a professional vocalist, photographer, and coach. I coach Ecamm and teach folks how to use it and use it well. But that's not even that important today. I told you my son was coming by to bring me something. So, because he was at the Grammys, because his friends were all on there, so he just dropped this
Ooh.
off. Yay!
Program.
Yeah, it's really super cool. So many people I know won Grammys this year. But I didn't go this year. Anyway, so yeah, I do all of that stuff. So I help people do this. But I did want to say, Martin, you're the dude, man. This is so good. I mean, seriously, I'm not trying to blow you up. I just want you to know this is so good. I was looking at it on my phone the last time you guys did it, and it looks really good. So, and then I know some people who, Robin is one of them, that want to do vertical video and want to look great on it. And I would say, well, you got to come and see this stuff, and you got to come do this stuff. And if you don't mind, Neil, there was someone in the chat that was Paul Kelly that was asking if you answered that question or not, if these are available. So I didn't want you to miss that one. Oh, okay. Right. So we can just throw you our money. We can just throw you money now.
Yeah. Throw money Martin's way. Yeah.
But yeah, so
I'm catching.
I mean, but yeah, I'm building my membership right now, and I'm doing a lot more coaching, and would like to do more to help people. So if anybody needs that kind of help, let me know. And I'm done. So I just wanted to come on here and help you out and be one of the people on here. So if anybody wants to take my spot and I can monitor the chat, I'm good with that too. Let me know.
Well, thank you so much, Valerie. And as for people who don't know as well, Valerie is Mrs. Moderator. She is our moderator for this channel, keeps everybody in check, kicks people out, especially when we're going to YouTube Shorts, Valerie. So, you know, it could be crazy. So thank you for keeping an eye on the chat. Who knows what's going to happen?
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I've been learning a lot from you guys. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay, so
Valerie's amazing. She has helped me with Ecamm since I started back in 2021. She talked me off the ledge. I almost quit, and she wouldn't let me quit Ecamm. So
nope, can't quit.
I owe it all to Valerie and to seeing you guys at the Creator Camp. That was pretty awesome too. That was my first one.
You're welcome. Glad you enjoyed it.
So just to answer Paul, just to answer Paul's question. No, template's not available yet. I kind of haven't finished playing with them because I've only just started with this. But I'm going to try another scene now here, and I've just gone into the Ecamm preferences, and I have turned on Show Me as an Active Speaker, and I've turned off Exclude Visible Inputs from Active Speakers. Now, what this should mean, theoretically, is when we go to the next scene, if any of us speaks, we'll jump into the larger active speaker area. So let's try and see what happens. So currently I'm in the active speaker area, obviously. So Neil,
would you like me to say something? And there I go.
Yay!
Yay! And
it worked.
And it switched my name this time. So somebody else speaks now. Last time we tried this.
Okay, I'm speaking.
Update.
It worked!
Yay! Oh, apologies. It's a hair trigger. It's a hair trigger.
How did you fix the name? I'm curious.
We didn't do that. That was the wonderful Ken and Glenn, the developers of Ecamm. So there was just a fix that they did. And last time it was just basically sitting on my name all the time. But now it seems to be fixed. So it's wonderful that we don't have to do anything from an overlay perspective. That name comes straight in. Stop clicking, Martin. I'm just kidding.
No, you're making noise. Ooh, now I'm making noise.
Martin wants to be the pattern interrupt every so often. Hey, I need to be solo.
And I like the fact that the names coming in remain in ratio. They're all fitting correctly on the screen. Yeah. They're not out of proportion. That's my dog.
That's your dog. I wonder if it's my microphone hearing your dog. That's what's happening here. So you might notice I'm the only person who doesn't have a name against me, and that's because I am the active speaker in this session, and I've faked my name down below by copying it and pasting it in the same size to the location where it is in the little one, little me, but it's not appearing on the main screen, whereas everybody else gets their name on the main screen. And Douglas, you don't have a name that's in proportion anyway. I don't know if that fits on the back of a sock or shirt, does it?
No, I was greedy when God gave up names, so yes.
And I think, Martin, that might be a preference. As far as your name as the host, there was a preference in there somewhere. So you might want to just look.
Ooh, I want to check that out myself. Because Martin's technically not a guest at the Zoom session.
Right.
Because he's the host. But yeah.
Right. And it's some sort of host preference in there that says it's if you want it to show up as the active speaker a certain way, because this window is basically yours, I'm guessing, but you have an active speaker, so you might just want to click it and see.
Can I ask you a quick question about the proportions? Do you mind me asking a question about the proportions? Because what I noticed with this one is it's not quite square anymore. It's more towards widescreen. Is there do you find that it pushes up the main screen if you have? I mean, you've got 9 people on this chat. If it goes to 12, well, what happens then? Does it push the big screen smaller? How does that sort of work, guys?
So yeah, I can take that one. So I have basically done the camera layout here and set it all up in a scene, so I can change the size and the shape of the cameras to whatever I want them to be and move between screens. So physically, if I come in and screw up this totally, which I will do by unlocking this Zoom active speaker, and I come up to my scene, I can actually change the window. In fact, let me just show you that. Let's make a mess of things for you, Lindley. So if I grab this,
please do.
I can change that to any size or shape that I want it to be, and I can do that for every single camera and then place them on the screen. And then what we've got going on here is a little bit of drop shadow around various different cameras, which is giving us that kind of slightly 3D effect going on between the cameras. So I'm able to do that, and everything is movable here. So if I come up to, for instance, this frame in the background and move the frame around, then I can move everything around individually. Every item on the screen that you're seeing is configurable, including the little video graphics, which I can make smaller or bigger or turn them on their side or things like that. So
the reason I asked that is because partly because I can see this format being, I still, as I say, I have a lot of corporate contacts on LinkedIn. That's kind of where they sit. And then it's family and friends on other channels, or people I don't know who hate me. That's brilliant. Love that. And so they're sitting on the social channels. But on the professional channels, I can see this being very useful. If you could vary, and as you can vary the size of that big screen for things like product launches. Because then you might want the team, the senior team or whoever's pushing the product out to be on the call to take their little bit, Apple launch style. And so you might want some detail on the big screen. So that's if you can just adjust that stuff, that's pretty cool. Because the main thing I would say, and you guys and Doug, I see you nodding there. I can see what you're gonna have to do is to sell to people like myself, but also to those clients, what this does for you in terms of public launch. If LinkedIn Video is a place where, because it's a professional place, effectively, so if you can put out something really important there and something really kind of interesting, then you could use vertical video. The thing about vertical video, of course, is that if you're looking at LinkedIn, perhaps people are still using larger devices. I mean, they're kind of at their desktop, maybe just checking their stuff, or they're putting out, promotional items to their network. So yeah, it's finding those use cases that would be really useful. I think product launches, I think announcements with just a few people on it would be really useful. Interesting how, and so my question would be how interactive these things need to be. Yeah, I don't know what you guys think about that. Doug, you were nodding. I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very interesting time. I think this is the era for creatives. If you're creative enough and have some technical ability, you can then show up in a far more authentic and consistent way with these overlays, with these skins. If you've got your own customized one, you got your own show, you're good to go. I think for me, the danger is keeping that consistency going, showing up all the time. So you become a brand. This is a real branding exercise. If you show up with different skins and different setups all the time, you might confuse your audience. You need to really make sure you go in and customize it, making a way that it's so simple. And I think we have a small window where creatives who are proactive can really leverage the fact that it's new before LinkedIn realizes or includes some additional vertical features in there that, so in that window, in that space where people are saying, wow, how did you do that? This is the time to play and be consistent. Because we've seen it across other platforms. Once you can consumerize it and make it really easy for people to jump in, jump out, you're going to get a lot more. You have to a lot more mediocre content can be produced, but this will enable you to produce some high quality engagement pieces. Like I'm thinking about maybe once a week, be able to share your screen and maybe do a review of something that makes sense, and also get that engagement going on as well. And the fact that you can link in Zoom seamlessly is butter to me. It's fantastic.
Yeah. What was interesting there as well, Martin, was it? Sorry, mate. Yeah, please carry on.
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm just doing my pattern interrupt thing here anyway. So I'm trying to actually move my microphone further away from my earbuds in case it's picking up other people's voices through my earbuds, and then it thinks I'm speaking. So I'm wondering whether I should be wearing more bigger headphones effectively, because I'm keep popping into the screen, and I'm wondering whether it's just the microphone picking up other people speaking and thinking it's me, if that makes sense.
I think
Is it not defaulting to you? Sorry, Neil.
No, it's just if he stops breathing, it's fine.
Neil.
Too much.
That was dark.
Yeah, Neil, 10% less, Neil, 10% less.
Yeah, sorry. So I'll just turn it down a bit. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Stay
Anything
alive.
not to
just
buy a
less.
computer.
Yeah, stay alive, not stream alive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Lindley here in terms of, this is fantastic, but I think what happens is, a lot of people will just spray it everywhere. And I think, doing this intentionally for the particular platforms is key. For instance, if we were doing this on TikTok, probably not a lot of engagement, or the right engagement, the right audience, right? And so I think, the product stuff would be fantastic on Amazon Live, for instance, when we go live with Dealcasters. Doing product stuff, they allow this via RTMP to be able to do this kind of thing. And so it's just, getting people where they're at, going, thinking digitally first and going, okay, if they're on a phone and they're here, LinkedIn isn't ready yet. It doesn't feel like for the live thing, but for the replay, yeah, absolutely. But I think in a lot of cases, what we would do is test this across multiple platforms in various formats, but be thinking intentionally about where these people are, how they're consuming it. If they're not consuming it on a phone as much, then maybe we back it off or adjust it. Maybe put on a suit and a tie. No, we're never going to do that. But but being intentional about it, I think, is key. But I think just testing it in a lot of different places. I can see this use case like he was talking about products. On Amazon when we're doing it, live selling. This would be absolutely fantastic because there are a ton of people that buy on their phones now and exclusively on their phones. And so it would be a fantastic use case.
The question would be, I suppose, is that, sorry, Martin and Neil, you take it over, but would be, you've got limited, even with a pro model of your phone, you've got limited space to do anything else. So you are committed to what you're watching. So I suppose you might have to think about limiting the amount of time in one of these sessions, to make sure you can throw in, you can have a look at it on your phone, then you can go away when it's done. Short things, maybe teasers, maybe promos, maybe, if you're releasing a film, for example, maybe you want to have this is the place where you do a round table with the actors or something, So it's interesting. I think as has always been the case, the nature of mobile is different. Everyone's on mobile, everyone's using mobile, especially younger people all the time, of course. But it's short, it's sweet. It's literally a couple of seconds and you're off. If you don't make an impression in 3 seconds, they're off. So the audience for this at the moment, until things change, if they ever do, is going to be more considered, launching something cool. Making sure that you've got those key voices involved, so that you can really go, now you are part of this group. Here we go. Here's what we're showing. Find out more here. That's probably the only way. The best way to go forward at the moment. That's my feeling anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, just looking at the statistics, 80% of LinkedIn users are actually consuming it via the mobile. That was just a recent statistic that came out, which is crazy. Yeah. And I think, to your point around launches or something where there is a visual element that you want to show off, as well as having some commentary. If you look at YouTube Shorts, for example, the biggest hook now for people is the visual hook. It's not enough to just have the spoken word, even with the captions. You really got to have something in the shot to capture that visual hook for the people. So I think this type of format could lend itself really well to that. So where I am at the moment at the top, that could be an actual image or a picture of something that you want to promote and show, or even just some form of visual aid to the commentary that you're making down below. And you could have 2 or 3 people on a small panel And as you know, YouTube Shorts now has increased the Shorts length to 3 minutes. So there's nothing stopping you maybe creating a small promo video, as you said, or something, keeping within that 3-minute variant. But I'm not sure how welcome this would be on certain platforms if we were, to run this live stream for an hour or so. So I think every platform has its unique ability to push out to the respective audience, and the audience is going to gravitate to this type of format on one platform over another, and it's just a matter of time to see where that fits. Shorts and this type of vertical video format isn't going anywhere. It's just, where is your audience going to be that's going to consume this? And with LinkedIn being a professional place, I think we have to be mindful of is it going to be a small product launch, a small town hall, a panel of experts to talk about a particular topic? And remember, because this is Zoom, technically, you could have a closed Zoom session for your business. This doesn't have to be live. This could be, I'm broadcasting to Zoom. Everybody who's at home could be watching this on their phone, who's a member of your team or whatever it might be. And it just might be a little bit more of an immersive, interesting way to do that, because you're doing it on the mobile side via Zoom, as opposed to having it on the big laptop and sitting there. So it's maybe a bit more casual, and maybe people would be more engaged because it's actually on the phone, depending on how many distractions and notifications come up. That's just my thought anyway.
Yeah.
I have a thought. Oh, everybody's quiet. I guess I can have my thought. I was thinking that I know that Paul Kelly had mentioned, what other platforms. I have all the LinkedIn stuff you're talking about, but I haven't really started using that stuff yet. So for me, I love using my computer and desktop and the whole bit. Now, Miss Robin over here, she is a phone person, and she loves using her phone. But if I'm doing Instagram videos or any kind of reels that's going to be vertical, I can totally see, because one of my audiences is entertainment field, and my singers and musicians and things like that. But doing something like this, where we have a little panel, or even if it's just a couple of people, and then opening it up so if somebody wanted to just pop on and start talking about their experiences at the Grammys, for instance, this would totally work for that, because we tend to just jump on. So if somebody sees this happening and they're on their phone, it looks good. I can be in this main window and maybe have a guest, and we'd be side by side, and then anybody that wants to pop on and talk is there. I think it really works for that world, even though I'm a desktop person. But a lot of people use their mobiles. So to be able to have that panel that Neil was talking about and just come and discuss a couple of things, musical things or whatever, I think is really cool. And also, since I do a lot of Ecamm coaching, it's kind of cool too, because like you said too, people want to sometimes see things differently and have a different type of engagement. So say if you're doing, if you have your show, you might want to just do maybe once a week or pop-ups that do something like this. And then that can promote the other thing that you're doing. So I love this as a pop-up. I love it as even if it's a 30-minute show, because I know people who would just pop on just to do exactly what we're doing right now. So, because I don't use LinkedIn like that, but some of the other, I don't use TikTok either, but I will use Instagram and I will use YouTube, so a 20-minute, 30-minute show, once a week or a pop-up, I think would be perfect. That's all I got.
Yeah, so
I've got a quick question. And I was looking for the hand sign, so I do apologize for interjecting if I did do that. It's to do with confettiizing content. Because we've seen the proliferation of content being sliced and diced and then repurposed across different platforms. I think that is a use case that you can definitely see about on this situation here. Particularly if you've got isolated video feeds for every single guest. Because if you've got good quality isolated video feeds for every single guest, you could then do bespoke content for whatever they said and then push out that. So if we've got 9 people here, your time's in it. You can go across different platforms, 9x. And I think the challenge again is to keep things as so simple that you can be consistently showing up with value. that is the big thing, because I guess if you're saying you can do this, and no one's actually showing you consistently that, wow, this is a thing, you can do it, it's hard for a lot of people to wrap their head around it. But certainly simplicity and being able to slice and dice it and also repurpose it directly onto your website. You know, I know some websites now that should now put in on vertical directly onto their website, and this will look far more professional than, you know, your traditional Zoom call. Means nothing. But if on your company's website, this is the type of content I can see working if you can make it simple.
Yeah, and I think this would work really well for like a town hall type meeting, where if we were the nine people in the town hall as the panel, then actually with this active speaker now in Ecamm, if you are on the Zoom call but you are not on screen, then you will still jump into the space where I am. So if somebody had a question from the audience, effectively, town hall style, they've got a question for the panel, bang, then they would come into this space, and then bang, the panel member would jump up into the big space to answer the question, if that's the way you wanted to do it, or they would stay small whilst the question was answered, or you could have questions coming in from the audience via the comments, and then still in this format have people jump into the big area of the screen. So
can you get rid of me and let's do it? Like, and I'll be the audience person.
Okay, let's try that, Val. I can get rid of you anytime you like.
You said that too happily.
Let me find you.
And if it doesn't work, I can jump on my phone if it doesn't work, and I can.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the placeholder for Val. Do I need to remove you from the camera? Yeah, we'll find
and then
out
what do I do?
Well, it should just be a question of you talking. Let me see if I can remove you. Now, you're still appearing to camera there, so I think I need to...
Oh, there is music in the background, it's fine.
There is music in the background. What I need to do is remove from camera. So Valerie is now removed from the camera, but she's still on the live Zoom call. So when I stop speaking and Val starts speaking, in theory...
Okay, so I'm going to speak now. Oh, it worked! Yay! That's fabulous. Go. And then the person can mute, or you can mute them. That's very cool.
So that would be, you know, you could have 200 or 300 people on the call, sitting on Zoom in the background, and the one who's put their hand up, and somebody says, "Hey, Chris, why don't you come on and speak now?" Then obviously, Chris can then say, "Unmute yourself," and as soon as he speaks, he'll come on. What you don't want is 200 people in the audience, all with their microphones on and randomly appearing in the active speaker mode. See, there's a bit of housekeeping involved in that, quite definitely, but I could see that working.
That's cool.
You have a question from Chris?
Yeah. So Douglas brought up a good point, and I think that is, for folks that are watching this right now, and maybe they don't understand all of this British Ninja stuff that you guys are doing. I think it's important to talk about how Ecamm and Zoom's integration work with other people that may have differing levels of whatever they subscribe to on Zoom. If they're coming in via free, and I've never really understood this wizardry, but in terms of like, if you have to have a certain Martin and Neil, in order to facilitate this particular stream, you're going to need a pretty high level plan in order to have everybody come in at a minimum of whatever resolution. But we're in a vertical format, and do we really need to be, at 1080p each individual? We're likely not. But it still is in quality and going out and pushing out at 1080p. Can someone sort of, speak to that?
I can try and speak to that. So Martin and I both have business plans. So that means that we both, in this particular case, have a Zoom plan that allows us to bring people in at 1080p. But you could have this set up right now and have 100 people on a Zoom call just using the free plan. The free plan, admittedly, the highest resolution you would get is 360p. But to your point, Chris, being in a vertical format with very, very small icons, as we're seeing now, even with the active speaker, it's only a very small part of the screen, then your Zoom guests that are coming in this particular case, may come in at 360p, but the actual production that you're seeing, the graphics, everything that we're pushing out via Ecamm can push this out up to 4K. So the Zoom tariff that you have has no bearing on the resolution and stream quality that you send out. It's only associated with the quality of the video of the guests that you bring into Zoom. So with a free plan, you can bring up to 1,000 people in, and they can be at 360p. The only limitation with that is it maxes out at 45 minutes. So after 45 minutes, we'd all be kicked off by now, and you'd have to rejoin the Zoom call. But hopefully that answers your question. So from a stream perspective, you can stream it to 4K, but just the guest video that's coming in is dependent on the plan that you've got with Zoom. And there's 3 tiers. Basic plan is 360p. A Pro plan is up to 720 HD. And then the business plan is 1080p. But again, with the variance of Zoom, how many people connect? If I was to connect via over a phone, it would bring the quality down for the majority of the people that are here as well. So because it does this rate adaptation and video quality adaptation, it just all depends on who's connecting, where, and so on. But effectively, you could use this with a free plan and just get a similar looking stream as far as I can see.
Yeah, I think that, thank you for that. And I think that makes sense in terms of people have to understand, like if you're pushing 4K on a vertical stream, you're not going to be able to really tell the difference between that and a 720 thing. But as long as it's coming from Ecamm to Restream in this case and multiple different destinations, it's being pushed at 1080p. Even if one of us were at 360 or whatever, it wouldn't look particularly grainy unless they were expanded out. But this is pretty much the most out you can get, as you see right here on my screen. And if I were at 360 versus 1080, you probably wouldn't be able to tell a difference on a phone.
Yeah, exactly.
You also have to remember too that you have to have a pro plan in Ecamm in order to have the integration. So
Yeah, so the Ecamm plans themselves, you're right, you do need to have the Pro plan in Ecamm in order to do that. There was a question that came in about what about participants via YouTube only and not through Zoom? So you can't bring guests into Ecamm just by YouTube. You have to have another mechanism to do that. So Ecamm has 2 ways of bringing in guests to your production. One is the integration with Zoom, and the second is the built-in interview mode that you have with Ecamm. So interview mode is a very simple browser-based interview plugin that basically you send somebody a link. It's similar to a Zoom link, but it's built into Ecamm. They just join via the camera and microphone via a browser, and then we can bring them in by guests. YouTube is just the mechanism of where we're streaming to. So whatever we have in the production gets pushed to YouTube, but YouTube cannot bring, and we cannot use YouTube to bring in guests. It's just, think of it as the TV channel that we're broadcasting our live stream on, and Ecamm and other products are the mechanism by which we can bring the guests and actually show the stream that we're doing to YouTube.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it would be quite, if you're watching on LinkedIn, if you're doing a LinkedIn live as things are at the moment, you can jump in. You're an attendant, you can jump in. So it's quite interesting. That there's a point of resistance there, isn't there? And it's interesting that we have to be on the Zoom call to be part of this LinkedIn Live, which is great, and you can bring people into that as well. The great thing is, people at home won't be noticing what we can see in front of us, and we can see the full broadcast in front of us on Zoom. So actually, you don't need to be on LinkedIn actually to watch this if you're part of the conversation. So it's an interesting conduit thing, but yeah, we're watching it as if you were watching it on LinkedIn. So I suppose that's really in some ways all that matters.
Yeah, it's just a Zoom call at the end of the day with fancy graphics and magic that Martin's done in his studio. So yeah,
they are fancy. They're very fancy.
Yeah,
shout
out to Martin. They were and I love the attention to detail as well. that, if I've opened it up multiple times on phone on different platforms, and the orange you see at the bottom, and for those of us who are watching in the Zoom, like that's space that is taken up by the chat that's rolling up underneath it. It's not covering up any faces. Very intentional design here along the side. So let's give Martin his flowers for that. But it's very, very functional in that respect. Like it's very clean, and there's nothing that's going to distract, unless Martin were to join right now and do his little pattern interrupt, then that would distract people. But for the most part, there's no distractions happening there. Of course,
there he is again.
Well, while I've got a whole bunch of guests on, right, I may as well just press a couple of other buttons to have a look at a couple of other things I was playing about with. But I could well cock this right up, but we'll see. So what I wanted to pretend to do was to have some guests on and just sort of pretend they're in the background somewhere, and I can already see something's not quite lined up correctly. But I'm just going to do a kind of I suppose a sneak peek at who might be in the background and hiding in there. Ooh. Whilst we were, got our show going on, and we could say, and I can't remember who's where, by the way.
Cool. That's cool, Martin.
So I just thought,
this seems like a game show of some sort.
I know.
So we could do a little
you're
reveal.
Uncovering.
Well, you're trying to remember where everybody was, and then we could award some prizes or something like that a bit later.
Yeah.
It's awesome. just like the opening sequence of Dallas in the 80s.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Yuma in the house.
JR.
Spoil it.
It really is.
Don't do that.
Don't watch Dallas.
Reruns. So that was me just playing about. Obviously, I noticed instantly pixel peaking that there was a couple of little lines around the edge of that where I needed to line something up a bit more carefully. But I just thought it's another creative way to bring things on. And I played about with a bunch of other stuff, and we'll be doing some more of that as we go forward. But believe it or not, we've already done over a whole hour, and we haven't managed to really break anything other than I managed to get my camera not on exactly correctly at one point or another, and then worked out, I think, that my headphones are definitely hearing a little bit of what everybody else is saying in the background. There's Jeremy joining us. But Jeremy, you're late to the party, kind of, really.
Don't spoil it for
Don't
my
say
wife.
it.
She hasn't watched Dallas. Unfortunately, she was too young, and we can't say who it was, even though we all know, don't we?
Something happened in the shower or something, didn't it? I don't know. And then they came
No,
back
that's
again.
Bobby. That's when Bobby came back.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bobby came
It
back.
was Bobby. Yeah, it was Bobby.
This is what
It's
the
a whole
stream
different
is for,
show.
really.
Hey, Jess,
think
who's
so.
Bobby?
Who's Bobby? who's Jeremy?
Remember,
Leo's younger brother.
Who's Jeremy?
he was the man from Atlantis originally. Do you remember that?
No,
Patrick
yeah.
Duffy.
Yeah.
No, I am showing my
Duffy.
age. Oh, I'll go on mute.
Okay. So, while Neil goes on mute, we're going to let all of our lovely guests go this time. We'd like to have you all back again. You can do a bit of a wave there, and then we can do a sort of a screenshot on that at some point or other. As we all fit on one screen, I think that's really cool. So I'm just going to go to our next scene, which is just me, and it's just Neil, and we're going to feel a bit lonely without you all, but here we go. See you later, guys.
Bye.
Hello, just Martin. It's just
Hello,
me.
just Neil.
And just
it doesn't look really boring now. There's only two people on the screen, and most people, you would think, when they're doing vertical video, this is the maximum that they get on the screen. So anyone who's working, everyone who's watching out there in Radio Land, there's a couple of QR codes down there. One is if you want a free trial with Ecamm Live, that's that one. And if you want a free trial with Streamer Live, that's the black and white one. So both of those products, free trials, affiliate links.
black and white. Oh no, one's a different colour. Sorry.
They are. One's black and white, one's blue and white. But,
Okay. Maybe change that one to red.
Yeah, maybe I'll change. Maybe I will. So because we just can't get enough of this stuff, I accidentally invited a guest on who couldn't make it today but can make it on Friday. So Neil will be replaced by Fulgens on Friday because he's not performed well enough this evening. So Fulgens Henry will be joining us live in Vertical on Friday on the show. So looking forward to having Fulgens on the show. So that will be good fun. I'm sure we'll blow his mind away, which means he's going to be doing this again also very soon, no doubt. But for now, thank you everybody for joining us. That's been really good. And I cannot remember for the life of me what I've got at the end of this, but I'm going to press this end button that says end show, and we'll probably need to press the other button twice afterwards. Let's end the show. See you later, folks.
Take care. Thanks for joining.
Oh, finish. Cheerio.